Opening of the March 14th, 2023 open session meeting of the Ayer Planning Board. Due to the anticipated forecast, this meeting will be held by remote participation only. Due to the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, in accordance with Chapter 20 of the Acts of 2022, suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, public bodies otherwise governed by the OML are temporarily relieved from the requirement that meetings be held in public spaces, open and physically accessible to the public, so long as measures are taken to ensure public access to the body's deliberations through adequate alternative means. This meeting will be live on Zoom. The public may participate remotely by joining Zoom meeting ID. I don't know. Let's see if this is the correct ID. If you'll excuse me one moment, let me see. I know I have the correct ID, 833-6548-0732, or by calling 929-205-6099. For additional information about remote participation, please contact Mark Archambault, Town Planner at 978-772-8220, extension 103, prior to the meeting. The meeting is called to order. The first item on the agenda is the agenda itself. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
And the chair votes aye. We have a quorum of 3, so it's unanimous. The agenda is approved. Moving on to, yes.
Jonathan, I apologize. I appreciate the haste. I think technically on Zoom, you do have to roll call us.
Oh, thank you for that. Julie, how do you vote?
Yes.
Ken?
Aye.
Chair votes aye, it's approved. Thank you for that correction, Julie. I do believe we have a covenant before us. Mark, if you would take us through.
Yes. I received a call just a few days ago from a legal assistant, Erica Donahoe, who is representing the developers of a subdivision called Shelley Lane, which was approved back in 2002. And the covenant was never released, even though I did check. The subdivision is 100% complete. The road is built. I checked with Dan. It's a legal town road, so it's really just an oversight. So I did send, I believe I sent the covenant itself to the planning board. It's fairly basic legal language for this sort of covenant. So what they're seeking is a motion to release the covenant, and I can read a motion that I prepared to that effect. The motion would be to release the covenant for the Shelley Lane definitive subdivision executed on March 5th, 2004.
Okay, thank you.
Everybody is satisfied with that. That would be the motion.
Okay, thank you. First, I want to note that Nathan King has joined us for the record and is here and present. I'm looking for a motion following Mark's language.
I'll move that the Ayer Planning Board approve the covenant for the Shelley Lane subdivision as explained by the town planner date and the date of the covenant being 3/05/04.
Second.
Just minor clarification, it would be to release the covenant.
Release the covenant. What I
Release the
missed that.
covenant,
Huh?
not approve, right?
Okay,
Yeah.
that's true. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, I'll amend my motion.
I still second it.
I'll amend my motion
any-
that the Ayer Planning Board release the covenant for
Okay.
the Shelley Lane subdivision previously approved by the Town of Ayer Planning Board and dated March 5th of 2004.
Mhm.
Thank you, Ken. Any discussion?
Yeah, I got a little question. So, Mark, the language of this motion and the letter of to release the covenant, are you going to assemble that and Jonathan will sign it? Is that the idea?
Yes, I will prepare a little letter that can go to the legal firm, and then they'll be all set, I believe. Yeah,
They have to record that, I believe. right?
yes. So it might be good to get Jonathan's signature since it will be sort of a legal document.
Yeah, just let me
Yes,
know,
I can
Mark, when it's
prepare that.
available.
Yeah, I'll prepare that right away, and yeah.
Okay, excellent. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Julie?
Yes.
All in favor? Julie, or
Yes.
just with your vote? Aye. Ken,
Ken votes aye.
Nathan,
Aye.
chair votes aye, it's unanimous. The covenant is released. Thank you. The next item on our agenda is Nasoya Foods, and we do have representatives of the applicant here before us. Mark, could you tell us what can we accomplish today at this meeting, and what's our goal today?
Right. You may recall that we started the public hearings for this process, which involves a site plan, a special permit for work in the Aquifer Overlay District, and a stormwater management permit. We opened the hearing back in December of 2022, and due to the need for the engineering firm to complete the concerns of that were brought up by the planning board as well as the DPW, it's taken until now to continue. So basically, the planning board will have to reopen the public hearings. And we did receive back at the beginning of the month, we received comments. One was to the planning board based on the planning board comments back in December. One was to the DPW, and another addresses the Aquifer Protection Overlay District narrative. Because this is a large, complex project, when we did receive the revised plans a week or so ago, I sent them out to all the major department heads, including Dan Van Schalkwyk. But, due to the need to have a little bit of time to review these, I asked for comments back to the planning board by March 21st. So I think what we can reasonably expect this evening is an update on the comments as well as what has changed on the plan set from what the planning board saw initially. And, we can see if there are any issues. After that, some of the main issues were, I believe, drainage, the tree buffer along Westford Road, and, there were a few other things. So I recommend that we turn this over to both Attorney Gibbons and to the engineer, Mr. Mackwell, who is in the audience.
And Mr. Mackwell, at the appropriate time, are you prepared to walk us through the changes in the site plan and the responses to the previous comments? I think you may be muted, Mr. There you are.
Yes, no problem. I have the slideshow updated and
Okay.
and ready to go.
Terrific. I do believe we need to open the meeting officially, correct? Open the public hearing?
Yes, there should be a motion to reopen the site plan, special permit, and stormwater management public hearings.
Can we combine those in one motion? The
Yes.
opening? Okay, good.
Yes.
Do I have a motion to open?
Make a motion that the Airtan Planning Board open the continued public hearing for the Nasoya site development, stormwater management, and aquifer protection special permits.
Excellent. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Nate. Julie, how do you vote?
Yes.
Ken?
Ken votes yes.
Nathan?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Public hearing is officially open. I'd like to turn it over to Tom Gibbons to begin with introductory comments.
Good evening, board members. Tom Gibbons for Nasoya Foods USA LLC. As you know, with me tonight is David Mackwell and also Jeff Prince, who is the senior project manager at Dacon Design. And I was going to give a summary of how we got here tonight, but Mark has done that already. I'm just wondering if anybody's heard from Jeff Tillison. So I know there's 4 members present, and we have a couple special permits which require 4 out of 5 votes. I always like to have 5 votes when we need that many. Do we know?
I have not
Jeff-
heard from Jeff. Mark, have you heard from Jeff?
No, I have not. I'm checking to see if he texted me or anything.
But unfortunately, Ayer has not adopted that statute that would allow a member to miss a meeting and get caught up on things and still vote. So that's what concerns me.
Your concern is that if he misses the discussion this evening that's related to the special permit, he won't be able to vote on said special permit.
Right.
Okay. just through you, Mr. Chair, for clarification. So,
Well, I appreciate that. I think we got a situation of trade-offs here. We do have 4 members present, which is a quorum. And in any later vote, 4 out of 5 would be sufficient. What would you prefer? Would you prefer to wait until we had all 5, or would you prefer to continue to move the process along since we have so many people here?
Well, I know that there'll be additional comments coming on the 21st or shortly thereafter. So I guess maybe, David, you can take them through the plan, but in a sort of a summary mode, and we'll repeat everything at the next meeting so that Jeff is caught up. So really, I would say the presentation tonight would just be an update of the plan. And
That's
then we
fine.
can delve into the comments at the next meeting, when hopefully all 5 members are present, and particularly taking into consideration that we know there's more comments forthcoming.
That sounds fine to me. I just want to ask my colleagues, and I think Mark has a comment to make. Mark, you want to go first? I'm going to ask my colleagues.
Sorry, it's a technical thing again. Cal Goldsmith was having trouble getting in for the next case. So I wanted to ask Cindy if you have your email available. I just sent you his email. If you could send him a link, even though I sent him the correct meeting
He's
ID.
here. I let him in.
Here.
Oh, there he is. All right. Okay.
Well, I would have, Mark.
And
Never
I'm
mind.
being Cindy. I got it.
Okay.
Okay. Hopefully that's the last
get-
interruption. I am sorry, Jonathan.
But that's fine. Not a problem. I want to ask my fellow colleagues on the board if they're content with the process as described. Julie.
I just want to ask if we're filming this, and as a member of APAC, can he just watch it? Like, knowing that we have 4 out of the 5, that's actually a good representation.
I don't think,
No?
So there is a statute in Massachusetts that if the town adopts, then someone could miss a meeting, get caught up by watching the video, looking at the minutes. Unfortunately, Ayer has not adopted that. For example, Shirley, the town of Shirley has adopted it. And I think it would be great if the town of Ayer adopted it, but as of this point, that's not the case.
Okay. Thank
So
you.
let's go through the site plan. Let Mr. Mackwell go through the site plan, discuss what's different from the previous plan submitted in November. And we'll save the special permit considerations for our subsequent meeting on I believe, the 28th.
Mhm.
I think that's a good idea. We can repeat it also as far as for Jeff's benefit, but tonight we'll take it to the plan.
Okay. Mr. Mackwell, the board is yours.
Sure. So if I could share the screen. Oh, boy. Too many screens. Can we see that one?
No, Cindy has screen
There we
sharing.
go.
There we go. Thank you, Mr. Mackwell. Yep, we got it.
Okay, so I'll just I'll get going here. And I don't want to violate, I guess it would be the Mullins rule, Attorney Gibbons. So as requested, I guess I won't kind of go down through all the comments, but I'll just highlight some of the plan changes we made. Is that what we're doing?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay, so just to give everybody a brief update, it's been a couple months since we've been there. I think we last met the planning board at the site in January. And here is just an overall aerial view of the site. It's about 14 acres. That's the existing Nasoya facility. I inserted some of the plans. We did update some of the plans, but you wouldn't notice anything here. This is just the existing conditions plan existing at the site today. Is a building with gross floor area about 138,000 square feet, and there's about 159 parking stalls. And loading on this side of the building, another piece of loading here. Access is gained. You got Westford Road up here, residential zoning district on the other opposite side of the road. We have Stony Brook Road, aka Industrial Way, is right here where we get frontage. Currently, access comes in through kind of a wide open curb cut paved area in the front here. Site plan that we've put together expands the building significantly, but also reorganizes and adds some green space up in the front and adds a curb cut for truck circulation around the back. As far as plan changes that we would see on this plan, reviewing the letter and some of the changes we made, we weren't really see many on this. The discussion point that we had out in the field was really to do with how to best handle the existing screening here, which we put in our letter, and we can discuss that in more detail after the planning board members read the letter and the proposal, and we won't discuss that too much. Some of the things that we discussed at the last meeting and in the field were to maybe incorporate some more granite curbing. I'm zooming in a little bit here at the front door. So as you saw in that last picture, all this area here is kind of wide open pavement now. So what we'd be proposing is starting granite curbing on this side, bringing it all the way around. This is the customer visitor main entrance to the new building. So we're going to bring granite all the way into the around the curb cuts and all the way, and then also around the landscaped area in the front. That's one change that we made that I did highlight on here to show where that was. Other minor changes to the plan was we cleaned up, we had some typos, I think, over here in the zoning legend relating to parking setbacks. It just said, I think, it all said 10 feet or something like that, but we cleaned that up based on the comment. We also added things like the maximum number of employees on one shift. We added the anticipated time for loading right on the plan, so it would be restricted in the middle of the night, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. Maximum number of employees at one time is 132. We have 187 parking spaces. I think the one thing that was, we read the permits into the minutes a minute ago, but we are also requesting the parking waiver that is explained in the initial cover letter to accompany the application. So we didn't change too many things that you would notice from a site plan point of view. We did, we got rid of some lands, we added snow storage all over the plan, and we gave a new operation and maintenance plan. I'll cruise down to the landscaping plan. We made some minor changes there to keep trees out of the sound sewer easement. And, you know, the narrative for the Aquifer Protection District and the performance standards associated with those things was submitted, and a detailed response to the DPW comments, which none of those things would show at this level of the site plan. Some of the comments are related to the drafting of the black and white versions here tonight. You know, we have full color version of utilities. We provided that to the DPW as well. So, you know, the one thing that we discussed in the field, I think the biggest thing was how to deal with the front yard setback, not setback, but we have to remove some trees in this area. When we did our site walk, we realized we might not have to remove as many as we thought, but we also realized that some of the trees in there might be dead and need to be removed. So within our letter addressing that particular comment, we made a proposal that the applicant would hire an arborist upon the commencement of construction and grading. The arborist would evaluate the slice of forest there, recommend any trees be removed and or pruned, and then add more trees at selected locations to help improve the screen from Westford Road and the residential abutters across the street, with a value of $10,000. So I think that was the big one that we talked about in the field. There were some other comments that came up at the meeting and in the field with respect to potential solar panels and items like that. And as there's not a member here, we'll go through the whole thing again next time. But I think in general, we didn't change the site plan that much. We responded to the DPW's comments as it relates to ongoing and future operations relating to sewer usage and pretreatment. And we'll be going through those at the end of the month as well, it sounds like. So Jeff Prince of Dacon is here, and he can fill in any gaps. I do have the full architectural plans here too, if anybody wants to look at anything. Again, very similar slides, or the architectural ones are the same as we presented last time.
Mhm.
So I have a question.
Okay,
So when we went on the site visit, we noticed that in the northeast corner where you abut with Catania,
mhm,
there's erosion that's obviously Catania's responsibility. It's from their drainage and their, but it's a problem for you because that silt is washing onto your property. Do you
Yeah.
know if there's been any conversation with Catania about remediation?
well, not at this time. We also noted that the DPW may have contacted them. They were out there as well that day with us. And what we did notice is when we commenced our survey, we think that work was ongoing because we didn't pick up all the grade over there, and we did observe the same thing, but we don't know, nothing has happened at this time. When this project is constructed, there will be a neighborly phone call to work together to resolve any property line grading issues. We're going to propose a retaining wall just on our side of the property line. It appears that they've encroached with some of that soil
Correct.
at this time. So we kind of see that as more of a neighborly issue that will have to be solved when this project goes to construction. As far as the fact that it wasn't fully stabilized and they might not be draining the property as they indicated on their site plan, we did not discuss that with the neighbors, and we haven't been out there since. So I haven't been out there since.
Chairman, if I might, Mr. Chairman, so I believe I had looked at their site plan, and I think the roof drain was supposed to connect into a collection pipe and get into their system, and it's free flowing right now. I don't know if the zoning enforcement officer has gone out there at all to talk to them about that, because they're apparently not in compliance with their site plan approval.
That's in this area right here.
Yeah, I agree with Mr. Gibbons, but more importantly to me was the fact that if you look at that, the way you're showing that drawing, your paving, their work looks like it goes almost right to your existing pavement, yet your lot line is a good, what, you've got it measured there, I think now. Well, the sewer line, what's that, 20 feet wide? 15
Yeah.
wide, so
Yeah.
they're like 20 feet onto your property, something in that vicinity. With their
Right. Yeah, in this area, they come almost out to the poles right here, to
Right,
the
exactly.
to the concrete. So
I think that when we looked at the light, excuse me, the poles, the power poles, utility poles, in your mind's eye, you think that's your property line, but your property line is well beyond that towards their building. And I did the same thing as you, Tom. I looked at their plan, and there wasn't enough detail in there to show any kind of construction that would make you feel comfortable that it was ending at their lot line, I guess is what I'm getting at. The building is so close to the lot line that they're building that they didn't show any detail in there on their drawings that I saw anyway, construction. But it looks like it needs a retaining wall. So I guess we'd be interested in, David, if you're going to show us at least a small detail or a sketch or something.
well, we did kind of observe that when we revised our plan. I don't think I showed the grading plan here, but on my layout plan, I'm bringing a retaining wall down 3 feet off the property line, as far down as in this area where our
Okay.
pavement then veers. We're not coming as close on this side.
All right.
Do other board members have questions for the applicant?
Yeah, I do. David, you mentioned the snow removal. Can you just clarify? We did talk about that northeast tank area as future work, but it is going to get cleaned up a little bit. That's one of your
Mhm.
snow areas, right?
Yeah, that's an area that we've identified that the fence can get taken down, and we can store it on the grassed area there.
Okay. And then do you have any changes you wanted to highlight in the northeast corner of the property? Is there anything that changed northeast, opposite corner?
Over here?
Down by the railroad tracks. Anything change on that corner? Yeah.
No, the only thing that changed that we agreed to do, working with the DPW, was they really stressed that sometimes they can't get through here and the pavement's in disrepair. So areas outside of the actual reconstruction, we've agreed to mill and overlay the pavement to give them a solid surface to access this path right here to get to the municipal pump station that's located on this side.
Okay, that'll be good. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Yeah, I have a few things, but Mark, you want to go?
Yes, I just wanted to ask about if the applicant's engineer has worked with the DPW yet to work out the amount for a bond for stormwater maintenance.
It's probably too early for that.
We have
Yeah.
sent, what we did is, great question, Mark, is what we did is we updated our operation and maintenance plan, and we've sent it to a contractor to get a price.
Oh, okay, great.
And, we don't think the bond is going to be an issue ultimately. And
Mhm.
we realize that that's required, to go further and execute the whole project. We'll need a maintenance bond.
Yep. All right, thank you.
Ken, you had other questions?
Yeah, the first one is for you, Jonathan.
Yeah.
Was there an expectation for tonight's meeting that the planning board would have read those documents that were provided to us, which they were submitted by the applicant, and be prepared for tonight?
I believe it was, yes.
That's what I thought. Okay, so I'm a little bit concerned with Tom's apprehension because we should be well informed at this point in time, but Mr. Gibbons' apprehension, I guess, but
Concerned that Jeff isn't here, I think that, and that Jeff wouldn't be able to deliberate in a subsequent meeting if he was denied participation in this particular discussion.
but he's only talking about the special permit
Correct.
concern, not the site plan or not the other, the aquifer
Correct.
protection.
Well, the aquifer protection is a special permit also, I believe.
Okay,
I always hope we convince everybody, all the members of the board to vote in favor. But that's a risk that I prefer not to take.
okay. I just don't want to hold anybody up if there's a concern with moving ahead. That's, so I would ask, I guess through you, Mr. Chairman, I would ask that David at least mention for the record, for the, the video or whatever, the documents that have been submitted to us, or Mark list them off, what were received, so everyone knows we're up to date with the documents. Then we can
Yes,
talk
and
about those.
everybody, all planning board members have received both the documents and the revised site plan, both electronically and in paper.
Right, but how about giving, I mean, I've got them here on my computer, but I don't want to flick back and forth between the Zoom, so we've received the aquifer protection narrative and special permit. You want to list them off, Mark? You want me to try to list them?
Yeah. The narratives that we received were a response to planning board comments from the first hearing date. An aquifer protection overlay district narrative. And also a response to comments by the Department of Public Works for the site plan.
Right, and a
In a stormwater management.
Oh, right.
operation and maintenance. Stop on.
Correct, the stormwater management permitting, yeah.
So do you want to comment any of those, David Macwell?
I don't think I need to elaborate much more. We tried to take the requested narrative that came up at the planning board meeting, and we provided that. We responded to each comment in the DPW letter. And then in order to move along the bond issue and make sure that we have a adequate operation and maintenance program, we made some slight enhancements to that and re-provided it to the DPW for any further comments.
Okay. I got a couple of questions, and one clarification that might help the applicant. If you want me to go, Jonathan?
Please do.
So David, are you able to put up the narrative about the, I want to say section 8.15 and 8.16, that letter?
I can probably do that, yes. Let me find it and then I'll reshare, okay?
Okay, this is just a typo that might help, that's all.
Okay,
So it doesn't have any bearing, Tom, on a decision.
Okay, I appreciate that.
let me Can you see me thumbing through my screen, or do you still see the,
I
Looking
still
at the site plan, Dave.
okay. Okey-doke.
I can tell you where it is. Forget about it. You
Well,
can,
no, I have it up and I'm just trying to figure out how to stop my share and reshare.
okay.
My Zoom has minimized since I was sharing, I think.
I appreciate the granite curb that you added. That's a good improvement right there. Thank you. It's on this screen.
Can the moderator stop the share? Unless maybe I can press this.
I'm looking. Hold on.
Thanks.
This will
Oh,
stop.
I got it.
Oh,
Separated from it's separated from the rest of my Zoom screen, and now I can share again. And then it would be great.
Yeah,
I
so
have-
if you go down to the end of that section, like E, second page,
Mhm.
E2. Yeah, keep going a little more to D, the very end, this one right
Yep.
here. So there's item D here, you've just made a mistake and added a sentence on the end, which you don't want to have there. So D reads, proposed down gradient locations for groundwater monitoring wells should the Board of Appeals deem the activity a potential groundwater threat, period. Somehow you also added this line, Board of Appeals deem the activity a potential groundwater threat. That's
I
not in the, you somehow put that piece in there, but it doesn't belong there.
Okay.
Because it
I must-
really reads bad if it says the Board of Appeals deem the activity a potential groundwater threat.
I think I cut and pasted, but that's okay. Thank you for pointing that out. We'll take a look.
I think you want to take that out, so
We'll highlight that right now, and that way I can
Thank you,
circle
Ken.
back with it.
And then I've got just questions on the site plan that you can go back to. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, so some of these are going to be pretty technical, but I'll go with what I have. So if you zoom into the new loading dock area,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a little tiny note on there that says sound wall. Just curious what a sound wall is. Right above the word concrete there.
Oh, I see it. Yep, there it is. You
Yeah.
just had it. Go straight up, 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 up.
I think at one point prior to looking at this, we were considering a sound wall. That appears to be a typo, the
Okay.
legacy from early planning.
All right, we'll take that off.
I don't even think it was on the first plan.
Okay.
I'll look at it now and maybe I missed it.
This is just a directional question on the trucking. So you've showed this heavy duty pavement section, with the crosshatches and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we didn't anticipate that the trucks are gonna drive in and then nose in back to the loading dock, and back into the loading dock and then drive out the same way they came in? Or they're gonna go around the building and out the other side?
They'll probably go around the building, but all of these areas were previously paved. This is the brand new pavement section.
Yeah.
These areas are gonna be handled with mill and overlay.
Okay, so you're not concerned with the weight of the trucking damaging the other areas and making it any heavier duty pavement like you did on the other one?
Well, you know what, to be honest with you, as this area here is not targeted to be fully reconstructed, When the paving
Okay.
contractor gets out there, we'll probably take any recommendations. If a mill and overlay is not appropriate and they feel that we should repave it, we may do that.
Okay.
And that's a great comment for the applicant.
This one is very, very technical, but if you zoom in now by the front entrance where you, just around the loam and seed area there and so forth, just expand that a little bit. And then you guys have, someone in the office has made a decision to use the integrated concrete curb next to concrete curb. You'll see it in 3 or 4 places here, and you see it to
Yep.
the right as you go along.
Yep.
You know, I have, let's say, some construction experience. I think you're asking for a, you know, something that's not that easy to do. I think you should just continue your concrete curb. Think about that and try to, instead of stopping and starting with the integrated and then adding, you know, small pieces of concrete curb next to it and joints. Just a thought to think about, you know.
Okay.
Usually it would be better to continue the curb and then form the concrete sidewalks up against that rather than trying to go in and out with the, you know, a concrete edge against the concrete curb. Again, it's technical, but it's up to you guys.
Thank you.
Um,
So you're not a big fan of the integral unless you can use it for big lengths.
It's awful. Yeah, basically. It's especially hard here if you're trying to blend it in with another piece right next to it, you know? And in one case, you got vertical going, integrated going to concrete. You got like three systems right there.
Right.
You'd be better off bringing the vertical beyond the sidewalks and then going
think
back
what-
to the concrete,
I think what we would do is
extend the
Make-
vertical.
extend the granite to
Yeah,
here
exactly.
and
And
to
then
here.
there you go. Then you got a nice detail.
Yeah, I see it now. I see it now. Yep.
Could you, this one is, you can use either a drainage plan or the one of the plans on the end, even, I think it's even the landscape plan, which shows us the subsurface systems, which I think, I just want to get into this for clarification for ourselves and the public, the extent to which you're controlling the subsurface water on site.
Mhm.
So what I'm asking for is just a brief explanation of the catch basins on site that are being connected to the subsurface, the new subsurface systems. And then just use any one of them as an example, maybe the one in the loading dock to show us how you connect subsurface roof water into those on-site systems
Mhm.
and how they're discharged off-site or retained on-site.
Okay, so here I have it's a color coded site plan that shows the drainage. In this box area here is a large subsurface recharge system. There's another one over here and another one behind the building. The heavy blue lines are drainage lines. We know where these are going to be downspouts adjacent to the building here. And we're going to tie those directly in to the retention systems. There's one here that will bring down laterally and come into a manhole. And then this retention system here would overflow into the next one, but it would also pick up more of the parking lot. There's some catch basins over here. This is actually a trench drain, so it's nice and level for the loading area. That would all come in here. The pink dot is what we call a water quality device to pre-treat everything. There's another catch basin here to bring everything into here. On the other side of the property, we have internal downspouts that would be somewhere in the building. And we have them in the lines here shown. We also have, we're gonna creating a little hole over here after we grade this, so we'll drain this area. We'll have a trench drain in this loading dock that will come across under the platform. That's a water quality device, and before it enters, these two pink dots would be catch basins with water quality devices added to them. Similar here, and those would come in here. So at the end of the day, a majority of the property is going to be fully mitigated to the new development standard. And
David Macwell, for the benefit of the public, could you describe the construction of the underground detention systems and how they work?
there are Cultec chambers where you would dig down to the parent material, remove any unsuitable materials or fill, and then place stone to help perk. You'd scarify the soil like a septic system. You place the stone, the chambers go on top of the stone, and then the chambers go down, and then stone goes in between the chambers and on top of the chambers. It all gets wrapped in filter fabric. And then we have about a foot of, minimum a foot of
Cover.
pavement gravel, and then pavement on top of that.
So these chambers look like plastic pipes.
Half pipes.
Who's asking that question? Is it Mr. Prince?
Jeff Prince, sorry, Mr. Diskin.
Jeff, I thought you know how to build that stuff.
I do. I thought that somebody wanted a quick explanation of the operation of the underground systems for the public.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so in the event that there's in the event that these Cultec systems are reach their max, there's an overflow provision, I see, by the blue thickness pipe that's coming off, right? To connect-
Yeah, each one of the systems has a manhole controlling the water level with a series of either orifices or weirs, and ultimately toward the top is an overflow at the top of the system as well.
Okay,
So the water is held back. A significant portion is left in there to perk into the ground, and the rest of it above that acts as a detention system.
slowing down the.
Yeah, so it slows the bigger storms down and recharges the smaller storms and portions of the larger storms.
And one of the questions DPW had, I think, involved, and I think you showed it on the plan or added it, was where you did the testing in these areas to determine the,
Estimated. Yep, seasonal high
seasonal
groundwater.
groundwater, whatever they call it.
Right. I don't think I have the plan with me here, but where testing has been done so far is on the existing conditions plan,
Okay,
and the results of those, I think, are summarized in the stormwater management report.
we got one more thing, Mr. Chair, that's it.
Go for it. Go for it, Ken.
So on page 9, David, you have a detail on the granite curb.
Okay,
Looks like it's the company's detail,
sure.
but there's no dimensions on the size of the granite. Meaning, I don't know if it's a 4 by something or a 6 by something or whatever. Maybe you could just clarify that for the.
Yeah, so they're going to be 6 inch. I think they're 6 inches wide, 18 inches tall, and it's specified by, we've got the Mass DOT specifications called out.
Okay, thanks.
So it's granite curbing to conform to VA4 type Department of Public Works Mass Standard specifications for highways and bridges, M9.04.1.
Thank you. I'm done for tonight.
I think we have at least one person from the public. I'd like to open it up if the public, anyone in the public has any questions for the applicant? Okay. Mark, I think that's about as much as we can do with this today, right? Given our previous discussion. Is that correct?
Yes, that is. And I anticipate that for the March 28th Planning Board meeting, we will have received comments from the DPW as well as the other peer reviewers. So hopefully we will make a lot more progress at that meeting.
Okay, that's excellent. With that said, I want to thank the representatives of the applicant for Nasoya. I appreciate the information they provided, and I look forward to making progress at our next meeting. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
We'd like to thank the planning board for staying there without power and having the planning board meeting.
It was good to see you
That's
too.
that's commendable. Thank you.
Thank
Have a
you.
good night.
You too. Okay. And I believe what's next on the agenda is, of course, 14 Washington. And I think to begin, I believe we need a motion to continue the public hearing. Is that correct? Oh, do we need a motion to continue the public hearing for Nasoya to the next meeting?
Yes, yeah, first.
Can I get that, please, from somebody?
Mr. King. I'll make a motion. that we
Okay.
Continue the public hearing for site plan review. Stormwater approval, I believe it is.
Stormwater.
Stormwater
Right.
permit, and the Aquifer Protection Overlay District
Special.
special permit, excuse me.
Do I have a second?
Second,
Thank you, Nathan. Any discussion? Hearing none. Julie, how do you vote?
Yes.
Nathan, how do you vote?
aye.
Ken, how do you vote?
Aye.
Chair votes aye, it's unanimous. The hearing will continue at the next session. I also need a motion to continue the public hearing for 14 Washington Street.
I'll try that one, Ken. Move that we continue the public hearing for the special permit and site plan of 14 Washington Street.
Thank you, Nate. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, I got a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. Julie, how do you vote?
Yes.
Nathan, how do you vote?
Aye.
Ken?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. We can continue the public meeting 14 Washington. Mark, yes, please.
Yes, just a technicality. In addition to continuing the site plan public hearing, we are rolling in this evening officially due to the posting. The special permits that have to do with the use. So we'll need a motion to open the public hearing for the special permit per section 5.215 in the table of use regulations, as well as section 5.217. So we're discussing the use special permits as well as the special permit that has to do with the parking location and the ADA spaces.
Okay,
And that will be rolled into the site plan, of course, and we'll discuss those all simultaneously.
all right. I need a motion.
Move that we include the special permits for section 5215, 5217. Do we also include the parking relief, Mark?
Well, I believe the parking relief was already requested as part of the site plan approval, so that's not really a special permit issue. It's that continues from the last meeting.
Okay.
I believe the planning board acted on all the waiver requests except for the parking relief. And I wanted to also, here's my chance to update the board. We received an entirely new narrative or an updated narrative that incorporates a special permit discussion, as well as a little bit more discussion of the parking issues, and also a parking management plan that appears in the back of the narrative.
When did that come in,
Also,
Mark?
You have it.
It's my understanding, right, it's my understanding that the applicant has revised the site plan itself to show 7 parking spaces instead of the 6 that were in the first iteration, as well as a few other details that we could go over this evening.
So let's sort things out. I'm going to talk about what we can accomplish in a second, but I want to make sure we get the public hearing corrected. Yes, Nathan?
Yeah, I'm just looking. Was that enough? Those two, I want to include those 2 special permits, 5215 and 5217.
And
Second.
I see a hand up from Cal. What did you have? Cal, what's up?
I just wanted to alert you to the fact that once you open the public hearing, I'm going to request a continuance, given the fact that there are 2 special permits here and we're just opening the proceeding. And I would always advise a client to get a full board for special permits, and that's what he has requested I do. And so he's gotten off the meeting and requested me to get a continuance to the next meeting if possible. when you have a full board available.
So
Given
very
that
similar to the
special permit-
situation with Nasoya, very similar issue.
Yes,
right?
exactly, yeah.
I have
Special
no
permit
issues.
requires a supermajority, so.
I have no issue with that. How does the rest of the board, can I just do a temperature check? Nodding of heads, if that's okay? You okay? I see nodding heads. I see a tongue. Ken, you're okay with that?
Yeah, so Callie, you saying we would just continue the two special permit discussions, but could talk about the site plan changes, or would you
In
like
the
to do
parking
nothing?
waiver?
I'm not sure how we can disassociate the two necessarily.
Okay.
I wouldn't want to do anything to jeopardize Jeff's
Okay.
ability to participate in a future meeting. There's not that much to talk about on the site plan. It's different. It wouldn't take us long to cover it at another meeting. I think the real essence of the discussion is going to be about the special permits.
Okay,
So forgive my confusion. So do you want to just call it a day tonight? Is that what you're asking, Cal, for the next meeting? Just is
Effectively, yes. Requesting
Okay.
a continue to the next meeting, yes.
All right. Do we still have to open this though, before we can go to the?
Yeah.
continue?
Yes, I would believe you'd have to open it
All
before.
right, so I'm still waiting on that motion, if I can get that, please.
I think. Nathan-
Motion's been made.
I second it.
Motion made. I need a second.
I seconded it already.
Any further discussion? Nathan, how do you vote?
Aye.
Ken?
Aye.
Julie?
Yes.
Chair votes aye. So we're continuing now, but I think that we also are going to ask for a vote to continue it to the next meeting. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. Nathan?
Aye.
Ken?
Aye.
Julie?
Yes.
Chair votes aye. It is continued to our next meeting on March 28th. Thank you, Cal, for updating us, and stay safe on the slopes.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I'll be happy just to get home tonight.
I
And
bet.
this will give you another couple of weeks to look over the plans and our special permit application as well. So probably not a bad idea.
All right. Thank you,
All right.
Thank
Cal.
you all. Have a good night.
That brings us to the town planner update, and I think we have something interesting to talk about, which is the peer review services, I believe, is something that, is that correct, Mark?
Yes. Yes, I spoke to, let's see, Green International Affiliates is the firm that replied to our proposal request to review the Stratton Hill definitive subdivision plan. And I spoke with James Thorne, the project manager, who would be the project manager for this project. And he said that my plan was to have Bob Collins and Stan Dillis submit the full plan set with all the accompanying narratives to Green International, so they would have, some time to review it before we start the clock, essentially, before it's filed with the town clerk. He said that sounds like a really good idea. It would take him about 2 weeks to do that. This morning, I was able to speak with Attorney Collins for Stratton Hill, and he said he was amenable to that as well. And when I mentioned that we only had one respondent, he was, a little surprised, but, not overly so. And I did go over the details a little bit with him as far as, the price is concerned.
I was just going to ask you. Ken?
Yeah, a little bit of a roll of eyebrows at the cost there, but what can you do? To me, it seems very reasonable. A few tens of thousands of dollars to review a subdivision of this complexity doesn't seem out of line to me. So, if the planning board authorizes me to execute the contract, we'll be able to officially have Green International as our engineering consultant. And that would also allow Mr. Collins to submit money into the escrow account, from which I would need to at least give, give Green a little bit of upfront money to start.
Right, deposit, right.
Right. And Mr. Collins anticipates that the plan set should be ready for the engineering, initial completeness review, I should say, not a review of the full engineering issues, but that could be by the very end of March or very early April. So if you go about 2 weeks after that, that would take us either to the end of April or early May to actually start the public hearing.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have a question about the memo for about the scope of work from Green International with the quote. I just wanted to check in with everyone if all the assumptions and exclusions are correct. Mark, I assume you've gone through those pretty carefully. Do you want to make a
Yes.
comment about that before we vote on this?
Yes. Yes, go ahead, Jonathan.
No, I thought, did you want to make a comment? I'm sorry.
Oh, do I want to make a comment?
Are the assumptions that they're making consistent with what we expect and want, and are there exclusions acceptable to us? Now, I looked at it through my relatively inexperienced eye. They looked okay to me, but I want to be sure to you and to the other board members that these assumptions and exclusions are correct, because they're pretty important.
Right, they are, especially, the part where the Ayer DPW would be determining the system capacity. I did
Exactly.
speak with Dan about this, and he thought that was acceptable to him.
Okay.
Otherwise, and I did also let Mr. Thorne know that, in the beginning, where they cite the plan references, that those references have to do with the previous submittal. He would have to change those. Also, as far as the task list, I'm not sure that attendance at 2 public hearings would be enough. I think, it may possibly be 3 or possibly even 4. So that could be increased. And he said that could be done as an amendment to the agreement later, if that turns out to be the case.
Should we need that? Okay.
Right. So we wouldn't need to do that this evening.
All right. And what you're looking for then, Mark, is that we vote to authorize you to commit to the contract. Is that correct?
Right, to execute the contract and do the paperwork for it so that, we get them on board officially.
Okay.
So that, so that they're on board when the plans are ready to do the completeness review for the planning board. So we don't have, the false starts that we had in 2021 with the definitive plan then. You may recall they submitted all this material, and it was found out that there were some deficiencies, and it took, many weeks to get that material. So in order to avoid that, I think this is a better approach.
Okay,
Yeah,
great.
when you
Please,
guys
Ken,
are
go
done,
ahead.
I have a comment when you're done.
Yes.
Go for it, Ken.
I don't know do you want to put up the proposal on the screen, Mark? Can you do it? I took a look at it myself here, but I'd rather have you put it up.
Yeah, let's see. I didn't get it prepared ahead of time. I can go into my, see if I have it in my files. Okay, if you just give me 2 or 3 minutes.
Well, I'll give you my comment, and it'll end the discussion right now anyway.
Oh, I'm looking for it though while you're doing it. It shouldn't take me too long.
Well, I'll read it. So I don't want to embarrass anybody here, but this is kind of interesting. I'll read you the scope of services and fee summary. It says, we propose the following scope of services and fee to perform a peer review of the application package for compliance with the Town of Ayer, Massachusetts zoning bylaw. Doesn't say anything about subdivision control law. Our peer review of the comprehensive permit package, application package for the proposed development of Stratton Hill will consist of and be limited to the following documents. And all the documents that are listed are from 2021. So this doesn't even apply to the documents that we haven't received yet. So I don't see how we can go forward.
Well, I did catch that, and I did mention that to him that, it was talking about the bylaw that we needed to bring in the subdivision regs and all that.
It's not
I
just, he basically says that he's got the whole list. He's got listed 1 to 13, the documents, but none of those documents apply to what is going to happen. They're all the old documents.
Let me pull, okay, I'm on a screen share so that you can point that out to me directly. Let's
I'll
see.
close mine up. If you put yours up, I'm gonna close mine. I can just reduce the thing.
Okay, can everybody see this?
Not yet.
No?
There we go.
Okay,
Oh,
I gotta see that.
okay. Ken, I'm not sure exactly where in this, the
Yeah, right at
section,
the, just,
Right at the bottom of the page.
yeah, right in
the
this,
bottom of this,
Yep,
right
there you
here.
are.
Scope of services and fee summary.
right?
So not to, belittle anybody in the process here, we need to just, if you read the second sentence, it says our peer review of the comprehensive permit application package for the proposed development at Stratton Hill will consist of and be limited to the following documents. And all the documents are the old documents.
Right, I brought that to his attention that these are from the 2021 submittal. That's because that's what he had to go by as far as developing the monetary proposal. Since, the new definitive plans were not available. But I told him that the scale and scope of the work would be similar to what was done in 2021, though not identical. But yeah, he would need to revise this contract in order to have the new documents. And also, I think he needs to also do a better job of mentioning the subdivision regs, the site plan regs, and any other regs that would come into play instead of just mentioning the bylaw, as you mentioned. So, there is time, based on my conversation with Attorney Collins this morning. I think, it's probably fair to have Mr. Thorne revise this proposal
Gonna have to.
based on your comments, and we're not going to get all the package materials before March 28th in any case. So yeah, we have time to revise this for the next meeting.
Okay. Thank you, Ken, for catching that, because I don't think we can vote to approve a contract if the fundamental document is inaccurate. That won't help us.
Okay.
I
But
think
Ken,
it's
what I'd
both.
like to do, I'd like to call you tomorrow to go over it with a finer tooth comb so that we catch everything, so that when I talk to Mr. Thorne, that I can, give him a complete list of things he needs to change.
Did you
Was that
say you were
addressed to me
going
or
to
to
call
Ken?
Jonathan? Who did you say you were going to call?
The engineer for the firm here that responded.
okay.
Yeah.
Can you go down a little further down the page for
Yes.
that list of plans?
Yep. Oops, as soon as my cursor works. Keep going.
Yeah, to the list of these drawings. Yeah. So the thing that concerns me here is we've got, I think, amongst these lists, things that we've already voted on and pretty much moved ahead on. The primary conservation plan, the topography exhibit plan, the wetland area plan, those were large scale plans that he gave us just to look at to get our bearings on the project and whatnot.
Right.
I'd be careful to limit the scope to what, we really need, is what I'm getting at. If some of these documents were part of the preliminary discussion or the original subdivision discussion, even the 113, the document, the Mass Endangered Species Act Conservation Management Permit,
Right.
will probably be, I don't think he needs to look that over at all. I mean, he could spend hours and hours.
Oh, I know. And
on
we
that.
don't want him to.
And
Certain-
we've talked about that extensively, and the fact that
right.
we even met with, Ann Gagnon on it, right, and got her comments. And she
Right.
mentioned to us what we had to what was going to be, alive and well in that discussion.
Yep.
So I'd like to see the number come along. I just think that number is high, period. So my way of getting that down is to change the scope of work a little bit,
Okay.
if possible.
Yeah.
Just as we did with the traffic study, we asked to take that out of the picture because we already came to a vote about that. So that was unnecessary. I think in a similar way, what Ken's pointing out to us is that there are documents here that are now irrelevant because they were used and confirmed in the preliminary discussion.
Correct. Yes. Yeah, we can fine tune this.
Okay.
So yeah, let's work on that this week. Ken, if you don't mind working with me. We'll set up a
Thanks, Ken.
time. Well, I know that wasn't the correct way to put it, but yeah, we'll go through it with a finer brush, and we'll look to see how we can refine this.
Okay,
But at least, I'm glad that we have somebody in place who can, once we get this in better shape, can review the plans before the clock starts.
Yep.
To me, I
Okay.
think that was vital. But
Good. Excellent. Anything further on this, Mark?
yeah, actually, I made a mistake.
You did?
So, yeah, because I can see that 11, 12, and 13, he's got an asterisk next to them already. These documents are preliminarily reviewed, and we concluded no further review will be required. Therefore, review of these documents is not included in our scope. So he's already pulled them out.
So
okay,
he pulled out those, but there are other ones you're thinking of too, right?
Yeah, we just need to take our time and double check it all. That's all.
All right,
Right.
appreciate that.
Yes.
And make sure, and then we're taking some out, but we're adding in the new relevant documents that
Clearly,
obviously were
Right.
important.
Yeah, and certainly some of the documents we won't even know until they're actually submitted, by the applicant. So they'll have to be added, and listed in the addendum or whatever we have to do.
Okay,
But, that's understood for a project like this, there'll be those sort of changes.
okay.
Yeah.
thank you.
Okay, and speaking of RFPs, I'm also working on an engineering RFP for the Air Solar 2 project. And here's some news too. I did speak with Rohit Garg, I think 2 weeks ago.
Well,
And yes, and
do I have
he,
to recuse myself now?
oh, right. Yes, perhaps for a few minutes. Okay. Yeah, what I was going to say is he was going to speak with Cal Goldsmith, who I guess left the meeting already, about
Mark.
having them.
Mark,
Yes.
could you unshare?
Oh, yes. Good, less confusing. Rohit was going to discuss having GPR do a complete revised plan set that included all the little revisions to different sections of the plan with the erosion control on the road and all of that. So it's one comprehensive site plan modification as we wished. I'm not sure how long that will take, but I want to get the RFP ready so that we can, send it out as soon as possible. I've had Dan Van Chalkwick look at it. He's getting comments back to me by the end of the week. And so this is something that I will probably share with a member or two before we send it out. It might be important to try to send it out to a few firms before the next meeting. Because I'm not sure what the schedule is or how long it will take. Though again, we could discuss this on March 28th as well. I don't think it will be that quickly. So I'll aim to have a discussion draft of the RFP for engineering services for Air Solar 2 ready by March 28th.
Thank you. Good. Anything else in the town planner update, or we can move on to meeting minutes?
We can move on. Yep.
And in fact, do we have any minutes to review this today? I don't know if we
I
do.
don't believe so. No, I did not receive any minutes from Heather prior to the meeting.
And I think we're reasonably close to being caught up, right?
Yeah, there are some, she is still working on a few of the more recent ones, and there are some that may have been approved that are not shown up on the website, so I'll have to do a deeper search
If you would.
for those. So
Okay.
I might need, Jonathan, I might need you to come in and sign a few of the ones
Not
that
a
were
problem.
approved.
Okay,
But
good.
we'll try to fill in those gaps over the next, week or two so that, there are no gaps on the website except for the ones that have yet to be written.
Okay, great. In terms of old business, new business, I have a couple of things and then I'll let other people contribute. So Julie and I have a meeting coming up with Carly and Robert on Thursday in which we're going to discuss our master plan midterm review. our process, the spreadsheet that Julie prepared, and I prepared just an introductory cover sheet to go with it, and we'll go over that with Robert and Carly and discuss the subsequent process thereof. Julie, do you have anything to add to that? The other thing, just update, is that Alan Minoyan put together a symposium regarding the disposition of Devons that occurred on Friday and Saturday. Friday was dedicated to presentations and discussions, and Saturday was a charrette. Both events were reasonably well attended, and we did get a good turnout. Nathan, Ken, myself, and Jeff were there, and there were plenty of people from all across Ayer. It was exciting, and then the whole purpose of the symposium was not to come to any resolution, but to come to a greater grip on what the issues are, what the opportunities are, and what the potential challenges or issues are. And I think overall it was a great success. I know that Alan is looking to, and the town is looking to form a kind of working group to discuss Devons. And we met a couple of younger people from Ayer that were hoping that we'll get more involved, but we may want some representation from the board as well. And we'll just keep that in mind. For those who attended the symposium, any further comments on that are relevant for our discussion?
It's just always a good idea to get as much information about Devons as possible, because it's amazing how much is going on over there. It's
Yep.
nice to be kept up to date. So it was good.
Absolutely. Good.
Yeah, I'll add that, there's a lot going on. It's great to be informed about what the Devons Enterprise Commission is doing and how they work. One question I had coming out of it is, what will the DEC continue to do in the next 10 years? So it'd be good to know what their vision is. And the other thing that's really, really important, I think, is this is going to need agreement between three towns. So that's going to be an element I'm looking for, is how are the towns walking through this proposal process together.
Okay, good. Any updates regarding, say, the zoning review? Nathan and Ken, anything that you in your working group, any news to report today, or no?
I think we're waiting we got one note from Jenna Providakis that Mr. Schultz is available on, I think, Tuesday nights. So we're going to have, our next meeting might end up on, obviously, a Tuesday when the planning board is not meeting.
Okay.
So hopefully soon, maybe next Tuesday, but nothing firm at this point in time. But Charlie Schultz is the one that we're trying to make sure is involved, since he is, the zoning enforcement officer and has ideas about this.
Any further old business or new business to discuss? Julie, please.
Okay, so for new business, I do apologize if my facial expressions offended anyone, but I either have to laugh or get angry, and no one wanted the angry expression. How have I been doing this long that it has not come up about the Mullen rule that we just discussed tonight? I appreciate Attorney Gibbons caring and bringing that forward and being attentive to what is legally important. However, it was a struggle for me to get to this meeting tonight, and I respect the fact that a quorum is important, and that allows all of us to have some breathing space on these boards to not get here when we can't. And so that's to say nothing to Jeff for not being here. I have already taken the time to email Robert and Carly and to make sure that that law changes for us when we pass whatever regulation needs to be passed, so this doesn't stop us up again in the future. So I will work with them on that. I think my question mark that I have first would be, if we had alternates on this board, would that have softened how this went? Because that was an hour of our night that
Right.
would have been saved, that we're going to.
Possibly. Yeah, I am not 100% sure on whether Ayer is compliant or not.
So So I'm going to look into it and dig into it too. I would really like to know if alternates would have helped us in the process, because we could maybe get alternates on this board faster than getting our rules or laws changed. I will work on both, but I would ask this board tonight to decide how at the next meeting, we are going to be aware that all of us are in attendance prior to going. And I have no qualms about saying I can't come if I can't come. But I think we need to have a plan of how we're going to check in an hour before the meeting, because my kids get sick fast. So if it's an hour before, I think that's an appropriate expectation that we all know ahead of time that everything on our agenda is going to get moved to the next meeting if one of us has an unfortunate circumstance.
Fair enough.
I got a little comment on that. So the thing that I learned tonight, two things. I've been before the Board of Appeals on a few things. And I understand, in many cases, the Board of Appeals needs a supermajority, which is a 4/5 majority. The so my question to Mark or to the town council, although it was pointed out to us tonight that our special permits need a 4/5 majority, I'm not so sure that a special permit by the planning board is the same as a special permit by the Board of Appeals. And it comes to the same 4/5 rather than a majority. So the first thing to satisfy the question to myself would be, we need to get assurance from legal counsel that in fact, when we are given the right to a special permit, which is different from the Board of Appeals, that our special permit still requires a 4/5 majority. Because I'm not sure, that's the first I heard of it.
And me
I
too.
just figured that if we were taking it in under our regulations as a planning board, that it would be the same majority vote as a planning board rather than a 4/5 majority. So I'm not sure we got the right legal opinion here tonight. And then, of course, I'm all about what Jolie said. If we could get the town, and I'm not sure how we would do that as a town, whether it's a town meeting or whatever. But certainly, with people's schedules, would always be better off with an alternate, because they could sit in and then we would have had 5 people. And we're always better off to have extra people. But yeah, why not look into the fact that we can override that requirement? And it's pretty interesting the way it goes is that theoretically a person misses it. I've read it before, and we got it through our training that you couldn't vote if you on a particular issue, but if you weren't there. But the idea that you could review it later and get caught up with the minutes and with video pretty much does give you all the information that you're going to need. So anyway, I think it's good to check on it, but I get that other little twist. I want to know if the planning board really does need 4/5, because I'm curious about that.
Me too. Mark, if you could just copy me in any correspondence you have with Robert Carley or the town council regarding clarification on these issues.
Yes, definitely. I'll look in our regs too, and the special, there may be something in the planning board rules and regs about that, but I will look. And if there isn't, I will consult with Robert and Carley before consulting with town council if needed. Also, a change of subject, but I realize that this Saturday,
I'm sorry, but I still want an answer to my second part of the question. So assuming we don't get an answer that satisfies Ken's ideas, which I hope maybe is just the case, and that will be easier. Can we find a way that we can agree that we will check in an hour or two to someone specific before the meeting?
Yeah.
Because I would rather just not come if one of us can't make it next week or next time. And I don't mean that rudely, my commitment, guys, but I've just, Tuesday nights are full enough. So who are we checking in with, and how are we doing so, say at 4:00 on next meeting?
Okay, so I could call all the members around 4:00 before the meeting on the 28th to make sure that we're going to have everybody.
Just this once, if you don't mind, unless we hear that it's not a thing, but I don't want to find out that both public hearings are getting continued again.
Right.
Just because my kid is throwing up. Like I mean, that means I'm not there anyway. So you guys show up, that's fine. But if Jeff has to plow, if Ken has an emergency, we would all still show up, and then we're going to do this all over again. So I would just appreciate, just for the next meeting, if we don't have a resolution that it just is the Board of Appeals or something else.
Mhm.
Can we just cover the next meeting together as a group, that we're communicating with you, Mark, that we will all be there, as it's important to the 2 public hearings?
Right, okay. Very good. And sorry, before I was interrupting you, I was just going to mention that this Saturday is the Citizen Planner Training Conference over at Holy Cross in Worcester. I plan to attend, and I know a few of you are, so this will be good. It's the first time since 2019 where they've had it in person.
Yep, I'm going to be there.
Yeah.
I registered.
Anyone else coming? Ken, did you say you're going?
I'm going, yeah.
If you can't tell by my stress level, I will not be there, but I really wanted to, and I'm looking forward to
That's
hearing
fine.
from everyone else.
So
what's
Julie,
going on.
Nathan, you think you're going to make it or no?
I'm not yet committed to it.
Okay.
You might not have to worry about it because I think today's the deadline anyway.
Yeah, and I think Ken and I will probably,
We'll be happy to
carpool.
inform you of anything of significance.
Yeah, just grab extra handouts for everything.
Okay,
Well,
great.
yeah.
Anything else?
I was going to ask a somewhat loaded question, I guess, and that would be that, I don't know if, I think every member of the board realizes that a large project is going to the Board of Appeals on the 15th, which I think might be tomorrow. And I know professionals in town hall have been asked, and they submit comments to the Board of Appeals. I didn't know if anyone else on this board was going to go to that meeting and listen in, or had an interest, or just want to stay neutral. Any thoughts, I guess?
Is this about regarding what, the 40B?
Not a 40B.
No, this is regarding the DMG Investment
Oh, it
Group
is.
on West Main Street.
It's a large project on West Main Street that's
Right.
asking for exceptions to the zoning regulations for the West Air Village form-based code.
Now, here's something too, I just wanted to bring to your attention. That's my understanding that the chair of the ZBA was not going to be able to make it, so they were going to open the public hearing just to continue it to the April ZBA meeting. So they, I do not believe there will be, discussion per se tomorrow evening. But you may want to just be in there just to see if there is, or, Yep.
Good. Dennis Curran has been sitting here so patiently, and I just want to offer him an opportunity. Was there something, Dennis, that you wanted to comment on, or a question or anything while you're here?
No, thanks for the thought, Jonathan. Just listening in. Have no
Okay.
have no keen insights.
All right. I just wanted to check because I thought if you had the fortitude to sit through it this far, I thought you had the right to be able to speak up and say something as well. Anything else? Motion to adjourn?
So move.
Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it. See you soon.
You soon.
Bye-bye.